Hi, everybody. We'll give everyone a minute to get settled, and then we'll get started. I know everyone's coming from the 1 o'clock session, so thanks for joining us in this 2 o'clock session. How's everyone enjoying the conference so far? Yeah. Let's do a social to the Brewers Association and these really sweet sustainable glasses, because the theme is sustainability, which we'll be talking about today. My name is Teresa. I'm the taproom manager of Single Cup Beersmiths in Clifton Park, and I'm joined today by Leah and Thomas of Viatran Printing. Viatran Printing is a screen printing and embroidery company located in Webster, New York. And today, in case you don't know where you are, you're at retaining customers while making money through merchandising. So if you are supposed to be here, stay where you are. If not, there's great sessions everywhere else, but we're happy to have you here today. So a little bit about our speakers today. Thomas is the founder and president of Viatran Printing, and which is based in Western New York and Austin, Texas. And Leah, to my left, is the co-owner of Viatran Printing and has been with the company since its founding in 2007. So both Leah and Tom are based in Rochester, so we're so happy to have them in Albany today. So Leah and Tom, the floor is yours.
I'm just going to do a little bit of talking about our over today, and then hand it over to Tom. We're going to go through a lot of stats and names. Sources for those will be found on our website, so we're going to look quickly. So we're going to do a little bit about sustainability, sustainable garments, sustainable printing processes, that sort of thing. And then we're going to get into why we're all here, which is why carry merchandise. We're going to talk about understanding why this helps sell beer, understand how to understand your customer better, what image do you want to present to your customer, and looking at whether it's possible to increase your tasting room merch sales by 50% of your tasting room sales next year. It's hard, but it has been done in the past. Basically, everything we're talking about today, neither marketing or sustainability is really black or white. You can't do one thing and be right if there's one thing and be completely wrong. We're going to go over a lot of stuff, but at the end we're going to boil it down to about 3 or 4 points on marketing and 3 or 4 points on sustainability. Like I said, I'm going to hand it over to Tom shortly, and then basically my role will be to interrupt him, interject, add some information, ask questions. We also ask that you folks ask questions as we go, and don't wait till the end.
So to start with, sustainability, I'm going to skip through that because that's exactly what Ken was talking about at the opening. When I was asked, we were talking about doing this presentation.
Excuse me, are you comfortable with the microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you hear?
Double hearing.
Yeah. Hello?
What thing is on?
Yeah. Hello? Okay. So when I was doing this, they asked if at the time I didn't know we were going to do something about sustainability. So anyways, I added that to the beginning of this. When we get into sustainability of garments, it's very complex. So I'm going to go through this quick. Don't worry about it. Wait till you get to the end of this thing, and I'll give you 4 strong points as to what you should do and not do. Okay? Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. So when we get into sustainability of garments, we're talking about the garment. We're talking about the ink on the garment. We're talking about the process of manufacturing, and we're also talking about the aftermarket. What happens to the shirt afterwards, or hat, or whatever it is that you got, okay? The best way to say this is buy less, buy better, buy a better garment. Don't be afraid of buying an expensive garment and selling an expensive garment, especially if you have a brewery where you're trying to show that you have sustainability. Having less junk out in the garbage is better than nothing. Avoid greenwashing, and we'll get into that. Greenwashing is false claims. Know your materials. Avoid synthetics. That's important to remember at the end. Okay? Avoid synthetics, which is 55% of the global garments that are in the dump. Look who made the garment, and I'll get into that as well. Watch out for harmful chemicals when you make this thing, and buy local. Why brands are not sustainable. Okay, let's talk real briefly about greenwash. Greenwash is false or implied. Well, I'm going to give you an example. My daughter was making a product for Whole Foods. All right, Whole Foods is organic, fine. So she went to Whole Foods and bought all the product in order to make these little cake balls. After she made the cake balls, they said, you don't pass because there is there's something in there that is not going to work. It's called listeria, and they didn't approve it. Well, all the product came from her, so it's all organic. So greenwash, what I'm trying to say is, because it was organic does not necessarily mean it's the cleanest product in the world. You got to be careful when you get into sustainability. Buy local. You want to be careful because when you get into the bigger brands, they don't really care about sustainability. They make product overseas and blah blah blah. But what happens when someone buys something local? Let's face it, people don't want to crap in their backyard. I'm not interested in polluting the lake that I go swimming in the summer in Cuca Lake or Lake Ontario. Okay? So you'll find that bigger brands tend not to care. Smaller brands, or buy local, they tend to care. And this is going to get into some of the sustainability. What do you think is the most sustainable garment up here? Anyone got an idea?
Probably better.
And the reason why?
Keep growing.
Huh?
Grow it.
I'm sorry.
You can grow it.
You can grow it, which is cotton?
Cotton.
Okay, the interesting thing, and the reason why I broke down cotton to natural, white, and dyed is because and I didn't realize this until a couple years ago, that there's a tremendous amount of bleach being used in a white garment. You would just think white garment, no problem. But it actually, the bleach, there's a lot of bleach that's used. The most sustainable is natural. It's a natural garment. In other words, it's undyed, it's unbleached. You know? Don't worry too much about that. Sustainability, greenwash. These are some of the things that you'll see in a garment that they will make false claims about. It's recyclable, it's all natural, it's biodegradable. Okay? And again, I'm not going to get too much into detail on this. It's just that you want to be careful. These are the 6 sins of greenwashing. And if anyone needs this information for some reason, I can text it to you. But again, there's a lot of fibbing and no proof. Someone will say something and there's no proof to this.
But how do you find out?
You got to do a lot of research.
So you're trying to, well, it's a small brewery owner, you're trying to just like do the best you can. You got to sit there and also research your hours.
90% of your business, 90% of your profits is going to be beer. A small percentage of it is going to be this. Don't waste a lot of time on it. I'll get to the end.
Like, then is there a location that we could all go to and get our trust sources that also, you know, like that could tell us like the best garments to go for that actually trust in garments?
No.
Great. Because it isn't our main.
It's not your main. Don't worry about it. We'll just keep moving on, and I'll tell you at the end basically what you should be looking for.
Okay.
Let's get into sustainability of the inks. Anyone got an idea of what's the most sustainable ink?
No.
No ink at all.
Soy.
Anyone got an idea?
Sorry.
That is the most sustainable, which is embroidery. You get a free shirt.
Oh, I mean,
Who said it?
Anyone know what is the least sustainable? This one is a trick question.
plastic salt.
Water-based. Anyone know why? Because,
Water scarce.
yeah, water scarce. Plastisol ink is basically little beads of plastic with some dye in it, and it goes down an oven at 380 degrees, and the plastisol melts and creates the shirts, and that's probably 90% of the shirts that are out there. Okay, the reason why I'm talking about greenwashing is because it's implied when you say water-based that it is the most sustainable. In fact, it is the least because it takes twice as long for that to go down the dryer, twice as much energy to use, as well as when you're done with the ink, you're feeding fish with it because it goes down the drain. Plastisol ink, which I could talk about, actually gets recycled. Any ink that's left on the screen, we put on this in this machine. It cycles through, and these filters over here capture all the solids. All right, you can't do that with a water-based ink. So don't get into the detail. Don't worry too much about this. We're going to move along. But the best is embroidery. The least is water-based. Okay, let's talk about. Oh, this one's interesting. Reasons to carry merchandise. 1. It's fun. And if anyone came to the other marketing meetings, they talked about beer is the item that you sell and you make money on, but you're really into the food and entertainment business, okay? And if you look at garments as being just more than a commodity to sell, you can actually be part of the entertainment. You'll find that it's quite an interesting proposition. I'll give you an example. We went down to a place called Sunset Creamery. They're at the end of Seneca Lake. The lady hates shirts. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She doesn't want anything to do with sizing and blah 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 blah. And we were going through the creamery. I said, what do you do here? And she says, oh, we got this thing where we hug a cow. Oh, cool. No one knows. Well, we charge $10 and they hug a cow. So I said, well, what we could do is come up with a t-shirt that says, I hugged a cow. Well, her sales more than tripled, and she sold a ton of t-shirts now because we now tied what they're doing to that item, and it's fun, okay? So just putting your logo on a t-shirt is not anywhere near as exciting as hugging a cow. Now, I don't want to hug a cow, but another thing that I wanted to show you is, this is a magazine. It's Beverage Master. I don't know if you people get it, but I saw an interesting article in here. Understanding the sandbox you're playing. This says, knowledge is power. Gathering all available data on your marketplace, consumer base, consumption or competition, and if you're an existing brand, your own history of success and failures. What is your customer looking for? That's interesting. What is your competitor providing? What is the market demanding and missing? Conducting extensive discovery and market research will allow you to make more informed and better decisions as you craft your own brand. Nothing happens in a vacuum, and ignoring external factors as you cultivate your own image is a recipe for failure. Okay, what we're trying to say here is that, and by the way, when they say extensive, you don't have to do extensive marketing. You could just look at the customers that walk in the door, really. And I'll get into that as well. Okay, let's talk about how will a garment sell more. This is sort of interesting. People want to belong, buy into, experience, blah blah blah. This is something that people won't get. Anyone watch Judge Judy? Does anyone look at the people behind the plaintiff and the defendant? What is there? Can anyone answer that question? Audience, what kind of audience? Demographics? No one in the room knows, but you've probably seen Judge Judy 100 times. It's all females, and they're all young. Why is that? And why am I telling you that?
Because of the social society today, and they want to be entertained instantaneously.
Did people hear that? So it's instantaneous, but it's the female that will respond to the plaintiff and defendant. So they set that up that way. Now every time you're going to watch Judge Judy, you're going to try to prove me wrong. Go for it. Because I've been studying this for a while, and I go, oh my God, I can't believe it. So what I'm trying to say is the people behind the plaintiff and the defendant, all right, are reacting to what's going on. It makes Judge Judy look good. All right, let me do one more. Political campaigns. You always notice there's a guy standing up front with people behind. And you're wondering, why the hell is he telling me this stuff? All right? There is somebody from every demographic behind that politician. It's a very difficult place for those people to hear. It's kind of stupid, but they do it because what happens to the human mind is they focus on the person that looks and acts the most like them. And they identify with that politician through that person. You may not believe me, but just go to the marketing books and that'll tell you. And that's why all these politicians do that. Why am I telling you this? Because when you put merchandise in your stand, and it doesn't match what the customer wants when you walk in the door, all right? You're not creating an atmosphere that's comfortable for them. Let me put it another way. If I was to open a brewery and have 5 IPAs and nothing else because I like IPAs, how long am I going to be in business? Not long, because I just made that a beer. But if you look at garments, most of the time when we go into a place, what's in there was what the person that's buying the garment wants, not what the customer wants when he walks in the door. Ultimately, what we're getting down to is you have to watch and observe the customer that's coming in and get what he wants, not what you want. I like is something that's said every time we go out and make a sales call. And the truth of the matter is, who cares what you like? It's what the customer's like. Anyone here know Knucklehead? Okay, so you know Len. Well, they're all laughing. Okay, so I walk in and I say, Len, you know what you need is a flannel shirt. He says, I hate flannel shirts. I don't like them. Get out of here. And I said, Len, there's 12 people at your bar. 6 of them have a flannel on. He didn't have to do any market research. He just had to open his eyes and look at the people that are walking in his place. And now, I'm graciously a marketing genius. That's all you got to do. And you put product out there that the customer wants and make them welcome and come back. Now, some of this ties back to, I don't know if people were listening to, if they came to the marketing thing with Glenn, but it ties back to the things that he's talking about. Question? No? Am I way off base, or are people understanding what I'm saying here?
No, I'm
'Cause-
getting it.
okay.
So, I guess what comes to my mind is observe the people walking in there. How would you, as the buyer of this merchandise, quantify diversifying your merchandise to the point where you have thousands of dollars of merchandise because you've seen this guy walking with this girl walking with this, where do you draw the line?
That question is going to be answered next year in this room. Because I can't get into 3 hours of stuff. But there is an answer to that question. I'll partly get into it, okay? Let's see. Next, apparel selection and design. When creating, you can read that, I'll go on with the story. How do you find out what they like? You ask. Okay, I'm going to go back to another story with Len that's kind of funny. I walked in with a hoodie on that was kind of a hockey hoodie. He says, I don't like that. Get it out of here. So I said, okay. So he took the hoodie and walked around the bar and asked people if they like it. And 3/4 of the people said they liked it. And then they said, when are you going to bring it in? And they brought it in. And he had pre-sold a dozen hoodies before I ever walked out. There's nothing wrong with sampling. Try it out. It actually works. Also, the other thing that you need to know is we've been doing this for 15 years. We sell, our target market is 400 breweries and 400 wineries in the state of New York. That's who we sell. If we've been doing it for 15 years, we have data for 15 years. This goes back to some of your question is, if someone came to me and said, I need to know what size scale of hoodies, or what's the most popular color, I can give you that information. I could pop it up, all right? Go to the web, try to order something, they aren't going to give it to you. They don't have it. That's our market. That's what we know, all right?
Question.
Yo.
Do you guys ever refuse someone's request because you know it's not gonna sell?
Yeah, let me give you a story. I love stories. There was a guy that came
That's why I
up.
asked the question.
Yeah, there was a guy that came up to a wine show last week, and his wife was going through, and the guy was trying to pull her out of the booth because he didn't want to spend money, and that typically goes on all day. Okay, so this guy said, "You know what? I'm going to make a deal with you." He said, "I'll buy 72 shirts, and whatever I got left over," because he was mad his wife wouldn't leave. "I want you to buy them." And I said, "Deal. But I got one request too. I design the shirt, I do the size scale, and I select the shirt." Turned around and walked away because it wasn't something that he liked. He wanted me to pick something he liked and then have me pay for it. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question, but
We will also, we have also, kindly, gently, suggested other things, or if someone's doing something we think is way off base, we'll say, "We'll do this. This is really what you want to do. We'll do this, but don't think it's in your best interest."
Yeah, I mean, because like you want custom return from us as well. So like if I get a shirt from you that's cute green, and you're like, and it's just there all the time. I'm not selling collecting dust. I'm not going to go back to you because
right.
I spent a lot of money at your place, and I'm not selling.
Right.
Right. I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake that's made in with regard to your question. People will buy what I call a staff shirt. They'll buy a polo, they'll buy a shirt with their company logo on here, and they think it's going to sell. It's not going to sell.
No.
It's a uniform. That's right. People don't want, especially women, don't want to walk around with a big, bold advertisement on their chest. They just don't want to. But, I mean, more people come up to our booth today and, "Can I buy that one shirt and take it home?" These are a lot of vendors, and, because they see something that's funny that's up there, That's what sells. There's a difference between a shirt for the staff and a shirt that you're trying to sell, okay? So how do you get the shirt that you're trying to sell? Well, we have artists. We have artists that work there, long time, that know what sells and what doesn't sell. We deal with all kinds of breweries and wineries. That's our business. Now, one thing that you want to be careful of is there are people that sell garments but don't specialize in an industry. Okay, they might do baseball shirts. They might do what I call trinkets and trash. Okay, yeah, trinkets and trash. This stuff. All right, it's fine for giveaways. Go to those people. It's fine. But if you go to the web, you're expected to come up with your own design. So then people come back to us and say, "Well, shirts don't sell." I go, "Okay, I wonder why. You just got a staff shirt." Okay, we're going to talk a little about marketing. This is per impression. Basically what I'm trying to tell you in this is that when you sell beer, it stays in the brewery or you take out a six-pack, but if you do a shirt with a funny impression on it that people look at repeatedly over and over again, they will see that impression. It's great marketing, okay? And people want to belong. They want to get it, all right? But you got to get something that they want. Question is, what is it that they want? Apparel impressions. Apparel items yield countless impressions. So that's pretty much the same thing as what we were talking about. Okay, this is something about demographics. Tell you another little interesting story I read in a book. There was a Target, Kohl's, Walmart, I'm not sure what it was. They decided to do a marketing campaign. What they did was, if you bought like patio furniture, they knew that you were going to put in a new patio, hypothetically, and you would need to get more items. So this one time, this fella got a promotion in the mail that said, you should come in and, 10% off on baby cribs. And it was addressed to his daughter. His daughter said, my daughter is in high school. What would she do with a baby crib? And went back to the manager. The manager went to the corporate office. They said, we're not going to do this promotion anymore. We're going to stop this. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. And 9 months later, the guy came back and said, you knew before me. That's marketing. And if you don't think that doesn't go on every day today, you're crazy. People are watching stuff all the time. Now, can you do that? The answer is yes, you can. You got to get a little creative. Okay, let's talk about the demographics. And when she was talking earlier, both sustainability and marketing are gray. There's no absolutes in this thing. Okay, it's gray. So I'm going to give you some numbers. Millennial, 34%. Now, they may not be in your brewery. They might not be in this state. This may be numbers that are a couple years old. Baby boomers are 20%. Great generation is 13%. What does that mean? That means they're all going to drink the beer, but when they come in, they're going to see a garment for a millennial because that's what the owner wants. Okay? And there's a brewery that's down in Texas, in Pennsylvania that we do business with, and they insist on a next level 6210. And you don't have to know what that is. It's just, you know it is, because you got one on, right?
But literally, if it's a unisex t-shirt, regardless of design, it has to be a next level 6210. The owner will not take another garment, will not do another garment.
That's a good garment, though.
It's a good garment.
It's a great garment
But lots
for a specific demographic.
Lots of the silent partners in this business are men 60 years old, 70 years old. It's not the garment.
They don't
for
like
that.
the shirt.
Or they want me to flip it a little bit.
No.
Comfort color?
Comfort colors. Do you know what that is?
I'm not trying to make fun. I just
It's just different markets.
yeah, I'm just seeing the commercials.
No, it's a different market. Now, again, we're going to have to get to version, 201 in order to get into the detail of what demographics are, what people are going to like. All you need to know at this point is if you buy one shirt, one style of shirt, or even better than that, one hat. We get people that get one hat, 12 colors. You think you're going to sell another hat? Guy going to come in and they're going to look at the hat and they go, okay, I'll take this color. So, let me see, climbing vines. Anyone know climbing vines? Oh, you know everyone. So, there you go. So, Chris got one hat, 4 colors. And I told Bree, I said, Bree, get 4 different style hats. They don't buy their hat from us. They get it from someone else, right? Get 4 different hats. Their sales went up by a factor of 4 in their hats because they just got a different style. That's it. And you analyze those styles and you figure it out. And you decide, I could get more of these or more of those or whatever. Oh, by the way, the other thing you want to do is don't get stuck doing one thing repeatedly because this is the best thing in the world. Don't repeat it. Bring it in from a marketing standpoint, get rid of it and bring something else in. Yeah, but it's our best one. Yeah, but if you bring that out and bring something in, then people are going to make it over to the merch stand and find out there's something new. If that merch stand gets stale, people won't go back to it anymore. Okay? So anyways, males are 70%, females are 30%. That's of what is sold and consumed in your brewery. Now, stats might be different. You can argue with me. I don't care. It's gray. But one interesting thing is 70% of what leaves your brewery is bought by a female. And 50% of what a female buys is for someone else. Almost nothing of what a male buys is for someone else. Now you're laughing, but if you understand what I just said, if you understand what I'm saying, you're more likely to design something for a female that a male's going to wear than something that a male's going to buy in your shop. Well, think about that one. All right? So we got female designers that design for men because that's what they're... wasn't 10 minutes ago, a woman came up to our booth and goes, I want those 2 shirts for my husband. No male ever came up and said, I want a shirt. Right?
It's because he wants the free shirt.
Good, that's right. That's right. He wants the free shirt. Okay. So my point here is that you need to think about who you're designing for. All right? Male, female, right? It's not, we're not just talking about, oh, if you were to put a design on an infant shirt, you wouldn't put a male design on it. Make sense? So as you get closer and closer into the demographics of what you're talking about, the design that you're going to put on a comfort color shirt, which is for baby boomers, is going to be a different design than something you're going to put on for a millennial shirt. Is there such a thing? Yes, there is. And something you put on a female shirt is different than what you put on a male shirt. There is. There's a difference. Because, again, women don't like to have...
What is a comfort color?
Oh, what is a comfort color?
Um,
There's got to be someone in this place that's wearing one.
So it's like, it's pigment dyed, you see them a lot in tourist locations, they look faded, they look like you've washed them 5 million times.
Life is good.
It's like the mom.
It's
Yeah,
life
is good.
Old guys rule, I
Yeah,
think
old-
that stuff
Old guys rule?
is comfort colors.
Yeah.
So, and, whether that works in your brewery has something to do with whether you are a tourist destination or if you are a local place, where you draw from also would affect what mix of
You're
merchandise
saying that
that you
appeals
have.
to older people?
Yes.
Older people or college-age girls, for some reason.
It almost makes me think my dad just doesn't ever not wear the same shirt over and over.
Well, he doesn't like to do the wash then.
No, well, he doesn't.
Yeah.
His mother will do the wash, but he'll just keep wearing the same shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, but many times we'll bring a shirt out and they'll go, oh yeah, that's the one my dad will wear.
Yeah.
Okay. So the numbers might be different from what you get, but the point, another thing I wanted to say was, we went to a wine show. And there was hundreds of people in the audience, and the woman up front said, she was doing a marketing talk and said, what's the demographic? She pointed at one guy and said, what's your demographics? Who comes in your brewery? And the guy said, anyone over 21. Oh, you're laughing. Because they were all serious. She said, how many people believe that? Everyone threw their hand up. And I go, oh my God, they need a bad marketing course here. Really? So they didn't divide things out. They didn't understand. Let's see. If you're selling millennials, you need to capture a certain percent, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to move along. Women spend 6.9% more. We talked about that. Women 3 times more likely, to walk out with something. Women are 10 times more. Basically what I'm trying to get down to this is I go into a place and we're talking about blah, 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 and the guy says, I want this. And most breweries and wineries are owned by guys. Okay? And then they come back a year later and say, this doesn't sell. But since 75% of what's sold is sold to female, you might want to get their opinion. Who knows Len from Knucklehead? So we had this one garment that's definitely a female garment, and we walked in and said, Len, do you want this? He says, no, I hate it, get out of here. And the girl behind him said, can I just get one? And I said, sure. So we got her one. And everyone would come to the bar and say, can I get these? Now, these things cost $30. He was, right? He sold, and we got one upstairs. He sold 36 of these in 1 month, making $20 a garment. And he said he couldn't do this because he couldn't sell them at $50. All right? But the girl behind the bar was wearing this thing all the time, and they just loved it. Don't matter which garment it is. The point is that when he engaged in the people that would buy it, guess what? Rather than making the decision himself. Why do I keep picking on Len? Because he's only about 5 miles from me. So, all right, we'll keep moving here. Strategies for selling more swag. Display the garment's do's and don'ts, which we can get into later. Put merchandise on the menu. You don't have to put it on the menu. This is information that I pulled out of a magazine that's a brewer's magazine. Like you said, if you want to find this information, you can go to viatran.com, look under resources, go to marketing, and where all this stuff came from is there. So I'm just copying it. You don't have to put it on your menu. But what you can do is display it somewhere. Have your staff rep the brand. We could talk about that, some of the do's and don'ts. Have your staff suggest merchandise, quality designs, If you go to a website and pull this stuff down, it's unlikely that you're going to get a quality design. Limited edition shirts. That's kind of an interesting one. Again, there's a brewery that had this stout beer. They invited 50 people to it. You had to pay in advance. The staff wore a shirt. There was only like 4 or 5 shirts. They wore a shirt that announced what they were going to do. They closed the brewery that day. They pre-sold 25 shirts. They didn't have anything left over when they were done. We could do this, by the way. Only produce 3 shirts for you. You don't have to get 72. Then we made, 25 exactly for him. People came in later and said, "Oh, I'd really like to get a shirt." And he goes, "Oh, next year. You can come back next year." That works. All right? It could be fun. Giveaways. Offer shirts to the whole family. That's an interesting thing which we can get into. Make it affordable. By make it affordable, I mean most people, what's called Keystone, they double the price. But when you get into the higher items, you don't have to Keystone. If it's costing you $30, sell it for $50. You could still make $20 instead of, $5 or $7 on a T-shirt. Do's and don'ts for displays. Don't put the garment up on the wall. There was a brewer in Rochester that had a 20-foot by 10-foot display. And he came up to me and said, "Why can't I sell anything?" And I said, "Because that's wall art. That's not a display." I can show you. I'll show you, later. You want to display in a place where people can touch the garment. When I say people, I really mean women. I work with the Rochester Public Market. We sell T-shirts at the public market. We set up a table like this that's twice as long, and the women come along and go all the way down. If they can't touch it, they're not going to buy it. Men don't feel that way, but it's true. Okay? Let people know the price. In other words, you don't have to do this on a menu. You could just $10, right? People feel more comfortable if they know the price ahead of time. They don't want to go up to the bar and ask what it is. It's real simple to do. Female sizing is a mess. Males, you got, youth and adult. Females, there's women's, ladies, juniors, girls. It goes on and on and on. Yeah. So allow them to be able to check out the garment, all right? Because that's important.
The less barriers you can put between someone liking a garment and deciding to actually buy the garment, the better. I know that I'm unlikely to bother a very, very busy bartender to go get me a medium of some shirt so I can see if it's the right size, and then I can buy it. I'm just gonna go, no, I'm not gonna bother them, I'm just gonna not get the shirt. So take those barriers away.
This is what you don't do. Everyone puts it behind the bar, up, and one of the reasons I'm told is because they're afraid someone's going to steal it. That is wall art. All right? This is basically this item here that if you can't get this, we make these, and I'm not trying to sell these things because we lose money on them, but it sets at an angle, and it sits so high that people can't reach it, okay? But they can touch it. They can see it. They can see where it's there. And you can put a price right on the front of that thing with a little display.
Is there a name for that thing?
It's a waterfall rack? Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy
You
these.
can get them online.
Yeah, you can get these online.
You can make that at Home Depot.
Yes,
You
yes.
don't make that
No,
big?
really.
Yeah.
This is Home Depot. It's
They
pipe.
drilled those holes in it.
We drill the holes in it, right? Put bolts in it, exactly. And Three Brothers had them going out straight, but it wasn't working as well. So we
You just get a 45 each.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. You can do it yourself. All right? But by doing that, you display it, and you display it high enough where people can't touch it. Now, if you notice what's behind there is a bunch of shelves. And when the stuff was in the shelves, it wasn't displayed. People didn't feel comfortable walking up to it, and not until he did this was he able to sell 2 or 3 times more merchandise. Okay? So how does that go back to selling more beer? You're making it comfortable for people to feel like they belong. All right? Giveaways and rewards. We got to move along here, so I'm not going to get into that. Hello. Giveaway. Beer enthusiasts love to take pictures. I got to point out Negative back there. They had this really cool thing where if you had a picture of the garment and it was somewhere in the world, they put that picture up on a map at their place. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world until he took it down. Oh, it's coming back. Okay, well that's good news. But it's the coolest thing. People really, they took pictures of themselves in the Alps, or I mean, he could talk better than I can about it, but it was really cool. And people they want to belong. They want to belong to Negative.
It creates buy-in, it creates a relationship between your brand and that person. You feel like they're part of the group.
We do the same thing, but we put it on a social media site, so we
Yeah.
have a person had a shirt being worn, and we tell people, you tag us, come back to the brewery, when you come back from vacation, we'll be fun of you.
Yeah. Did you hear what he said? Yeah. Great idea. Great idea. Make it fun. Okay? And we'll get into it.
Mark, when you say, you tell them, is that
So when
like on the
people buy
website?
shirts,
or is that
when
on-
people buy the shirts, our staff helps
Tell
us.
them.
When they go on vacation, they take our shirt, take a picture of you in the shirt, wherever you are. Just try that location and come back, show us the tag. We'll see it anyway, but likely a week or 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And just show us the tag again. And we'll give you free money.
These are all free marketing ideas. All right? Okay, this goes back to supply the whole family. I have a shirt company that has hundreds of thousands of shirts, maybe 10,000 infant and toddler shirts. Okay? So my daughter, a month ago, went out and all by herself, had a baby, right? And my wife goes out and bought maybe, you're already laughing, you already know, right?
Well,
I got like 10,000 of these onesies in my shop, right? So, we call these things grandma grabbers. In other words, you may not sell a lot of them, but it gets people over to that area to check them out. Who
Is
buy?
Leah gonna come after us for advertising skates?
Yeah.
You can't do youth shirts. They get worn in school.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you want,
On a baby.
if you want to get baby boomers over there, what you got to do is put in infant toddler, right? So grandmas buy infant toddler, mothers buy toddler. I mean, when I say infant, they buy infant. Mothers buy toddler. So it's what gets people over into their area. They don't necessarily buy it. Your sales aren't going to go skyrocket, but what you're going to see is more people in that area because they're entertained. All right. Okay, limited edition shirts. Why do I keep using Knucklehead? Because Len is just a riot. We have a great time. And I told you about the stout, so let's move it on. Have your staff suggest merch. Negative sold a ton of these silicone cups, right? Dave, you want to talk about it? Is Kim here? She want to talk about it?
I don't think Kim's here.
Yeah. Now the reason why they sold a ton of these silicone cups was because, and when we talk about Kim, does everyone know Kim? She works for. She was extremely knowledgeable about this, and because she had the knowledge and understood it, she just sold a ton of these cups. I really sort of admire. Many times people are embarrassed to ask. That's why you want to put the price up. Staff only asks 19% of the time. Again, you can read that information, but it basically comes off of your magazines. Put merchandise.
I think the statistic is just like, if you ask, people are 30% more likely to buy the item. If you don't ask, 0.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that makes sense.
People are buying their beer. Ask if they want to buy a shirt.
Yep.
And if they're asked, they're more likely to do it.
Have you seen our this? And just show them.
Yes.
30% more likely to buy it.
Yes. Okay.
Always.
Don't worry about putting it on the menu. We're going to keep going. Have your staff represent the shirt. Okay. This one is interesting. Increase exposure by having your staff wear the shirt. In other words, don't have your staff wear a polo shirt with a logo, which is generally what they want. Have your staff wear the shirt that you're trying to sell. All right? And again, I go to the public market and I have this shirt on, and so many people look at my shirt and go, how do I get that shirt? You're way more likely to sell more merchandise when you wear what you're trying to sell. Quality designs. Okay. Let me just go over this real quick. And I want to say, the Viatran, we carry stock. We will fold and tag. In other words, we're set up for you guys. Fold means, tag means there's a price tag in the bag if you want to. We do something called pack by store if you have multiple locations. We give garment recommendations. We could do size scale. We have all kinds of data, which is things we were talking about. Now, I'm promoting Viatran, but I do want to tell you, there's other people up there. The Cooley Group and Legacy are two companies that are designed specifically to help you guys out. All right? You want to be careful because there's other people that are out there that are not designed. They're way broader. They do baseball uniforms. They do stuff. They will print your shirt. But they're not specifically, the company is not specifically designed to do what you guys are looking for. All right? So you want to make sure that you're dealing with someone. And you can deal with your local screen printer. I'm not saying, don't. But I would hesitate buying off the web, and I'd hesitate buying a Nike shirt, okay? Okay, let me get down to the conclusion of the sustainability because I don't want to do it that other... All right. They held us up. Conclusion, don't buy off the web and don't buy brands, which we just talked about. Learn what your supplier's doing. Don't waste a lot of time doing that because it's going to be tough. But, if you have a conversation with them, about sustainability.
Yeah, there are some brands that we work with that he's going to show some screen grabs of some literature that they have about why they consider themselves sustainable.
Is Sing Sing Kill here? No. Oh, yeah, there you are. Okay. This guy does all kinds of sustainability, but doesn't tell anyone it's a secret. Okay? What we want to do is let everyone know. Okay? If you tie your sustainability to marketing and let other people know, you're going to get people in your business that relate to what, I don't know if people were here talking, your core. Were anyone here with Glenn's talk?
Yeah.
So what he talks about is the core. That's the core of his business. And we want to promote that on the garment. That's going to retain people to come back. They want to do that. They want to know that you're doing this. Okay? And we have a design team that will work with him to make you specifically shirts that might have a logo on it or something to do this. It'll be unique to your organization. All right? But what is your core? It may not be sustainability, it might be something else. But whatever that is, we want to work with you to make what Glenn was talking about in the previous talk, what it is that you want to push, okay? Buy quality garments.
Yeah, one of the easiest ways to make yourself do sustainable garments is just buy nicer garments. Buy a garment someone's going to wear for the next 5 years or 10 years. Don't buy a garment, don't sell garments that they're going to be washing their car with in a year.
So,
That's the easiest way to become more sustainable.
when we were talking on before, we said the worst post-consumer garment was a tri-blend garment. This is why it's confusing. Is because this one is made 50% of bottles and 25% of cotton and 25% tuna shells or something. But the thing is that this is great before you buy it, but it's the worst shit on the market after you buy it.
It's not recyclable once you're done with it.
Yeah,
You can't separate back out the pieces,
yeah.
Man, it is soft.
so it is
It's a nice shirt.
everything's a trade-off.
It's a nice shirt. Yeah, everything is.
Wear it till it's degraded.
Well, that's his point. If it's a quality shirt and you'll wear it for 10 years, keep it and buy it.
10, 20.
20. right? So we have sustainable garments, but what is sustainable? So that's one of the issues. Okay, conclusion for marketing. Open your eyes and look at your customer, which is what we talked about. Ask the women on the staff. I want to tell you an interesting story. You could read all that junk. Get over I like. Find out what your customer likes, because your customer's actually buying it, and they're going to put it on and walk around with it. All right? Anyone here Buc-ee's? Yep. Yep. Oh, I see some smiles. Can you tell me why you like Buc-ee's?
It's like.
Let me tell you what
It's
Buc-ee's
like-
is
it's
first.
like
Buc-ee's is a
Walmart
gas station.
station.
Buc-ee's is a
Has
gas station.
everything.
Okay? But it's I mean, what is more, what's the word?
What's a bigger commodity than gas?
Yeah, commodity, right? I mean, your beer is somewhat of a commodity, but gas is a commodity. You drive by, and if it's 3 cents cheaper at the next gas station, you go to it. Buc-ee's gas stations have 120 pumps at it and have a little corner store of 60,000 square feet. What a commodity, okay? They place themselves between 2 major cities, between Houston and Dallas, between Atlantic City and somewhere else, right in the middle. Why? Why? Anyone know why? Because women get their husbands to stop there.
They have really, really, really nice, clean bathrooms.
You don't pay for the bathrooms. This goes back to what Glenn was talking about, okay? When you walk out of the bathroom, someone goes in and cleans. You don't pay for it. But it's what Buc-ee's wants. They want that clean, they want that reputation, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so what we do that we don't charge for is artwork. We don't charge for these value-added services. We charge for a t-shirt, okay? So people come to us because they know that the product that they're going to get next time and repeatedly is going to be the same. Buc-ee's toilets is what sells, and they don't charge for it. And here's my question before you leave. And this is the same question that Glenn asked, but I'm going to ask it in a different way. What is your toilet? Right? What is the item that you have that brings people back to you? Right? This is sustainability, we know that. But what is yours? And you have to market that. Right? You need to tell everyone what you're doing, and there's many ways to do that. But one way to do it is a shirt, all right, or a garment, or a hat, all right. Does that make sense? I'm done.